My husband told me his mom was moving in for just the summer. He didn't ask me. He announced it while scrolling his phone. A few weeks later, I played her real plan at full volume in front of our entire family. Dan said it like I was unreasonable. Mom's lonely. She'll help with the baby. Our son was 6 months old, and I already had a routine. Dan finished with the part that mattered. I already told her yes. I stared at him and realized he'd chosen her comfort over mine. Linda arrived Saturday at noon and took my son from my arms. "Where's mommy been hiding you?" she cooed, like I was the nanny. The first week, she smiled sweetly while she rearranged my kitchen. The second week, she started taking my baby on little outings without telling me where. Dan started coming home later, always with an excuse. By week 3, Linda got sloppy. She sent me into her room for her glasses. I opened the top drawer and saw a folder with one word peeking out: custody. My hands started shaking. Inside were articles about grandparent rights and primary caregiving. There was a legal pad full of her handwriting. E seemed overwhelmed. E raised voice. Noah present. Noted. I put it back exactly how I found it and swallowed my rage. I didn't confront her. That's what she wanted. I bought 3 tiny cameras and hid them in plain sight in the living room, kitchen, and nursery. I paid with a gift card so Dan wouldn't see a charge. Then I waited. 3 days later, I sat in my car outside the dentist and opened the camera app. Linda was in my kitchen on the phone, my baby banging a spoon nearby. "The window's getting smaller," she said. "We need her to crack." Then she laughed. "It has to be her idea to leave," Linda said. "If we push her out, he'll defend her." She paused, listening, and then said it clean and cold. "Dan takes the path of least resistance, and that path will be me." I recorded everything after that. Linda called me never right for him, and told Dan lies about me, staring at the wall while the baby cried. Dan nodded like she was a doctor and said, "I know, Mom, I'm worried too." Then I took it all to a lawyer. She looked at me and said, "You're not crazy. This is coordinated." I moved money into an account in my name and copied the documents that mattered. Then I picked my moment, our anniversary. Dan bragged about a fancy dinner reservation like it was a reset button. Linda volunteered to watch the baby, all smiles. I invited my parents, my sister Hannah, and Dan's Uncle Tom for a quick lunch to celebrate. At noon, everyone smiled and made small talk. Linda set down her potato salad like she owned the place. Dan poured iced tea, acting proud of himself. I stood in the living room and held the speaker remote. I said, "4 years ago, I married Dan." I said, "Something's been happening in this house." Then I pressed play. Linda's voice filled the room. "It has to be her idea to leave." Silence hit like a brick. Linda's face went pale. Dan's mouth opened, but nothing came out. I let it run anyway. "She needs to crack," Linda said. Tom's eyes went hard. My mom's hand flew to her mouth, and when she walks out, I'm already the caregiver. Dan finally croaked, "Mom, what is this?" I didn't look at him. I hit the next recording. Linda talked about lawyers and standing. Then I hit another, and Dan agreed. I wasn't bonding right. I pressed stop, keeping my voice calm. "There are more, and my attorney has copies." I turned to Dan. "Your mom has a custody file in her dresser." Then I turned to Linda. "One more lie, and everyone hears your voice." Linda tried to smile. "This is a misunderstanding." I stepped closer. "No, this is a plot." Dan reached for me. "Please, I'll send her home tonight." I stared at the man I loved and saw the coward I lived with. The time to choose me was weeks ago. I picked up my son from the playpen. He patted my cheek with a sticky hand. I looked at Uncle Tom. "Get her out, today." Tom nodded once. "Done." My parents and Hannah walked out with me. I didn't cry until the car door shut. The divorce took months, but the recordings ended the fight. I kept primary custody. Linda got no unsupervised contact. Dan got every other weekend, and he showed up every time. I moved back to Ohio and bought a small house that felt like air. Noah started talking. He called me Mama. My coffee got quiet again. Later, a pediatric nurse named Mark held the door for me and actually listened when I answered, and I remembered what peace was supposed to feel like.